Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. You've got a story to share, a message to inspire, and a passion ready to ignite. But where do you start? The world is waiting for your voice. With From Idea to Implementation, Start Your Own Podcast, you'll get the roadmap to turn your vision into reality. This isn't just a course, it's your launching pad. Step by step, we'll break down the process from defining your purpose to recording your first episode so you can finally share your voice with confidence. Stop overthinking it and start doing it. Your voice has the power to connect and lead. Are you ready to use it? Join the waitlist today. Your podcast journey starts now. The world is waiting. You can find the link to sign up for the waitlist in the show notes. We'll see you soon. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Sara Kaufman-Bradstreet. She is the founder of No More Wasted Days, an alcohol-free coach, and a podcast host. Welcome, Sara. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
It is my honor and my pleasure. I am so excited to have you here, and I am so excited to jump in and share about all the things that you do, the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. So with that being said, let's jump right in. How long ago did you found the business, and how long have you yourself been alcohol-free?
So I have been alcohol-free since May 13th, 2019. And so I just passed my 5-year alcohol-free anniversary, which was a pretty big moment. And my co-host to my podcast always tells me that means I'm in long-term recovery now. And I'm always like, I don't know. I still feel like a little baby on the journey, which is funny because I always tell her, I'm like, when I was 1 year in, I felt, oh my gosh, I have arrived. I'm an adult on this journey. And now I'm like, oh, I have so much to learn. So it's interesting how the tables switch there. But I started No More Wasted Days pretty early on in my alcohol-free journey. At the time, I was a health and fitness coach and running health and fitness challenges. And I thought, what if I do a sober October with friends and family? That was my thought. I'll just run that and we can check in. And I just had a huge response. I did it again. And suddenly I saw, hey, there's a need for this. People are coming and doing this. They either want to take a break from alcohol or they're curious about just quitting. So I recorded videos that went with the 30-day challenge, and that's really how it was born. It's so funny to me because I recorded these 30 videos on my iPhone, all in one take, from the beginning, trim the end, and then I put them up, and that became what is now my 30-day alcohol-free challenge. Since then, the videos have been re-recorded. But it was my 30-day challenge actually for a year, just because it worked. It was what was helping people. And I think I was so authentic in those videos and just casually talking about what I was experiencing early on in my journey. And that was, if I quit in May 2019, that must have been October 2019 when the baby of it was born. And then I think more in 2020 is when I really was like, okay, I'm going to make this a thing. And then the world shut down. And then I was very much, who would want to even quit drinking right now? These times are so stressful. Who am I to be saying, oh, try this thing where you don't drink alcohol? And actually, there was a huge need for it. So it kind of blossomed out of that. And I've just been growing it ever since and changing and going with what people need.
Beautiful. Now, what were you doing for a living before making a leap into the entrepreneurial world? And what inspired your journey into the entrepreneurial world?
I was an elementary music teacher, was my last job. Before that, I was a middle school choir teacher also. Okay. So I was a music teacher in the public schools for 18 years. And I took the leap because my husband was an entrepreneur. It's all I had ever seen him do since we were dating, getting married, all of it. And I kept thinking, I go to work every single day and it's a pain. I bring 5 bags with me. Like I kept being like, oh, I've got my lunchbox, my work bag, my gym bag. And every day it's a struggle just to get into the car. And this man is in his pajamas. And he's in his pajamas
It's not fair.
He's in his pajamas when I get home. Like, what? And he was working. It's not like he was he's on calls all day and working hard. And I was like, okay, I want to figure out what this is. If he can do this, I can do this. I was definitely very locked into the idea that I had a degree in teaching. That's what I needed to do. That's the only thing I was specialized in doing. But now I get to teach people how to live a life being alcohol free. So it just was a nice transition for me.
Yeah, you're still utilizing your skills as a teacher. It's just teaching a different thing. And we get so conditioned into thinking and believing from when we're kids that this is the route we're supposed to go. You're supposed to go to school, then get a degree or whatever, go to university, then get married, then have kids, get the house, all the shit that we've been conditioned to believe that's how life's supposed to go. But I think if nothing else, COVID showed us that life does not have to be led that way. And people are changing and realizing and waking up and thinking, fuck this. I don't have to live this way. This is shit. This is boring. I don't want to live this way anymore. There's so much more to life than what we've been told.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, it was just how do I do this? And it's so funny now.
I want some of that.
Yeah. I watch other people and I'll say, you know what? You need an online course. And I know what you could teach it on. I'm always just, I can figure this out for you. And I think I forget that it's so much more than that.
It is. And I think that we also forget that entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
No.
Not everyone's cut out for it.
Exactly. And there is some people thrive in the 9-to-5 setting.
Yep.
And I know for a lot of, like in my family, I watch people who watch me and they're like, you're never really on vacation. I'm like, I could be. I can make it so I can make everything run on autopilot. But yeah, when you come visit for a weekend, I'll sneak away and get some stuff done. But I am guilty of just loving doing what I do.
There you go. And that speaks to finding your purpose and finding your passion. You can make the time to go on vacation and do the things you want to do. It's just you get caught up in doing the work because you love it so much. And let's face it, the world needs ditch diggers. I mean, we have to have the people working in the 9-to-5, working in retail, working at the restaurants, all of those things. It's needed. And again, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and that's okay too, for sure. What drives, motivates, and inspires you to keep going and excelling at all that you do?
I think for me, right now on my entrepreneurial journey, it's just knowing that there are so many people out there that are like I was 6 years ago. They're stuck in a cycle of over drinking, having a hangover, then saying, I'm not going to do that again. Then all of a sudden 5 p.m. rolls around and it's, you know what? I'll start that tomorrow. I'll have a glass of wine tonight. Then over drinking, hangover, repeat. And I was so lost. I was just sitting there going, I know I need to change what I'm doing. I know I need to change my relationship with alcohol, but AA didn't seem like the right fit for me. I didn't know if I needed to quit drinking forever. There were just so many questions in my mind, and I needed to see somebody like me. I needed to see somebody saying, hey, I quit drinking 5 years ago, and this is how I did it, and you can do it too, and you can quit without saying you're going to quit forever, and you can be in charge of this journey. That's what really motivates me to do this. And that I get comments from people saying, I started my journey 1 year ago, and I've watched you every day on Instagram or TikTok, and you keep me going. That's what keeps me going and keeps me motivated.
Beautiful. Can you share your story of your journey to becoming alcohol-free? And was there a turning point for you where you said, okay, enough is enough. I have to do this for me now?
So my turning point was actually that my husband said, enough is enough. He was going to quit drinking.
Okay.
And he was very much, I'm going to quit, not take a break, I'm done doing this. And I was like, what? I was mad at him because we were drinking buddies. That's how we had always been. We were like that when we dated, into marriage. And I was just like, excuse me, I believe we need to have a meeting about this.
How dare you never consulted me about this?
Yeah. And I mean, he had talked about it, but I had been like, I'm going to choose to ignore that you're talking about this. And I will definitely enable you in your drinking and keep you with me. I mean, that makes me sound terrible. But I got home from work one day and of all things, he was sitting and drinking a beer while listening to a book about quitting drinking. And he was like, I think you should listen to this book. I know. And he did say, the author said I could keep drinking while I listened to the book. And I'm, oh, okay. Like that. I was so like, whatever. So then I listened to the book. For those that are curious, it was This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. And I did hear the story. I heard my story in her, and I thought, okay, I can make a change. And up till then, my drinking was just this really slow escalation. I always say I wasn't an every weekend drinker until I wasn't a weekday drinker, until I wasn't a mimosa and Bloody Mary drinker until I was. Like, and I was kind of going, okay, if it started at what's considered a normal amount, and all of a sudden it's just been going and going, where's it going to go? It's just going to keep going. So I finally decided, okay, I'll do this with him, but I'm only going to commit to 30 days and then I'll go back to my drinking, and I bet I'll be a lot better at it. Luckily, I loved it so much that I just kept going.
Beautiful. Amazing. You're sitting listening to the audiobook while drinking a beer.
I always love too that he goes, the author says you can, and she does. She repeats continually, don't try to change everything right now. Just listen. And I was supposed to take him seriously.
So what inspired you to transition from your personal journey with becoming alcohol-free to start helping others as an alcohol-free coach?
I think for me, it was just knowing that this was something I could do. This was within my wheelhouse. I could do a 30-day alcohol-free challenge with people. Like I said, I was doing health and fitness coaching before that, and it was similar, I guess.
Right.
It definitely was not the same, and I don't touch at all. I do let people know that a healthy diet and working out helps your mindset. It really, truly does. But otherwise, I don't touch on health and fitness coaching anymore besides the ditching alcohol piece. And I think in the beginning I was, this could go hand in hand with what I'm doing. So I just knew from having friends that drank like I did, from watching people on Facebook post about drinking the way that I did. I knew I wasn't the only one, even though in the beginning I felt like I was the only one like me, the only person going, I need to quit, but I just don't think I fit the mold of what people consider an alcoholic when they have that mental picture in their mind. So I think I just saw that this is something that could help people. And I went into it with an open mind of, I'll try it out and see if people respond. And they did.
Okay. And so what has been the biggest or most valuable takeaway for you through these experiences of quitting and doing what you're doing?
Oh my gosh. There's so many things for that one. I think the most valuable takeaway for me is that I ditched one thing. I got rid of alcohol, and my world changed. And I don't say that lightly. My whole life shifted. I was still teaching when I was a drinker, and I wanted to leave my teaching job. That was the goal, to figure out something I could do, a business I could grow. And all of a sudden, that started coming into sight for me. My husband and I had this dream to move to this piece of property that we owned in Western Washington, build a house. All of a sudden, that became something where I was like, I think we can do this. Now, we've been building that house for the past 3 years, and we're about to move into it. So it's just kind of like everything shifted. My mindset shifted. I became a more present mom. So that's the most valuable thing for me. I got rid of one thing, and everything else changed.
A total shift. And so when and how did you realize that, hey, there is a need for this type of coaching? There is something here. People are really, what was the catalyst moment for that for you?
I really think that it's I feel like I've said it a few times, but it is that there are just people like me that feel very alone on their journey. And what I mean is, I just felt, oh my gosh, I'm not a person who lives on the street because of my drinking. I haven't ruined my marriage because of my drinking. I haven't lost my job because of my drinking. But my drinking felt very out of my control. And I kept going, I just don't know how to do this. I just don't know if people like me quit drinking forever. It's like I needed permission. And that's knowing that I felt that way. I love now just sharing little 60-second videos on Instagram saying, you know what? You can choose to quit drinking and you never have to take the term alcoholic if you don't want to. Or maybe
Hmm.
later on down the road, you will take that term and that's okay too. Just letting people know they're not alone. And I know I needed that, so I know other people need it.
Yeah. You say that you felt that your drinking was out of control, that it was to that point for you. How much were you drinking?
I was drinking about 2 to 5 drinks on the weekdays, and then the
Mhm.
weekends were becoming what I like to call a bender situation. I'm like, I hate saying that now, and it's so weird because I'm so far away from that. But then I'm like, it's only 5 years,
Mhm.
but it seems like a different person that would wake up on the weekends and be like, want to put some whiskey in your coffee because you can. Like it's, I found out all these things like, oh,
Right.
because you can. Adults do that. So I'm going to
Yeah.
do that. Want to have a mimosa because you can. And
Right.
it just started becoming like Saturdays were a drinking day, Sundays were a drinking day. And somehow I always managed to like cut it off by 4 and kind of be like, you
Mhm.
got to go back to work tomorrow. So you got to shut it down. It never helped. It was like Mondays were always a disaster. But I feel like the thing that really, when people ask like how much were you drinking, the real question is how much were you thinking about drinking?
Mm.
How much was it consuming your brain space? And that's what was the big shift for me, because when I stopped, I was like, oh my gosh, I think about alcohol all the time. I think
Right.
about, oh, it's time, I'm going home. This is the time where alcohol is going to happen. Like waking up on a Saturday morning. Oh, this is a fun day. This is a day where I can drink all day. Going to events. I don't want to go to that one. There's not going to be alcohol. Like it just, I thought about it a lot. And now I don't
Yeah.
think about it at all, which is just very freeing.
Yeah, for sure. Can you discuss some of the biggest challenges that you faced in your own journey of becoming alcohol free and how you overcame them?
I think the biggest things were the thoughts in my head, thinking that, oh my gosh, nobody's going to want to be my friend anymore. And I'm going to be so boring without alcohol. Those were the things that I had to overcome. And the way I did it was just looking at those things as a challenge. I got very into the idea that no, I've just thought about this the wrong way. I have thought that alcohol makes me fun, but when I step back, I can see that alcohol just made me repeat the same stories over and over. Alcohol just made me get kind of sloppy and slur my speech. So actually, I wasn't fun. I was just drunk.
Right.
So it was kind of seeing those things and going, okay, maybe it is awkward at first when I socialize, but it's awkward for everybody. And it's awkward even
Mhm.
when you drink. It's just that you take time to drink and then oh, I don't feel awkward anymore. It's more just that time. So I think for me, it was changing those thoughts and challenging those thoughts and saying, I'm going to prove this thought wrong. That was very big for me in the beginning. I'm going to prove this idea that I have wrong. And I've been able to prove them all wrong so far.
There you go. What are a few of the common misconceptions about living an alcohol free life, and how do you address them with your clients?
I think all those thoughts that I was having, I'm going to be so boring. That's one that I get so much. It's so interesting on Instagram, the comments that you get, and they start repeating, and people will be like, it's great that you don't have hangovers, but now you're probably super boring. And you're like, actually, I don't think I am.
Yeah.
And then I kind of look at my life and I'm like, wow, I don't see anything boring about my life, but okay. And I think it is working with clients and saying, why do you think it's going to be boring? What did it look like when you were drinking? And most of us can all stop and say, oh, drinking just made the boring things seem exciting because it slows down your brain. And when it
Right.
slows down your brain, then the slow stuff is coming at you more quickly. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. But it's really just that your brain has been dulled. So when you can see that and go, oh, okay, then I have to create the fun. I have to be the one in charge. And I think that's a big part of it too, is taking back ownership of alcohol doesn't make me fun. I make myself fun. Why would I ever say that alcohol was the thing making me fun when it's all in me?
Yeah, for sure. That's got to be a tough struggle when people first start their journey, for sure. That self-imposed prison that we put ourselves in with those thoughts and
Yeah.
overcoming them is tough. It takes the work, but if you're willing to do it, you can get there for sure. As we know, alcohol is so deeply ingrained in society, normalized. So I'm curious, how do you help clients deal with the social pressures and the stigma associated with choosing to live alcohol free?
This one is so big and it's so different for each person because some people are going to find out that, oh, actually, their friends didn't drink as much as they thought they did. I found that out. Like, I was like, oh, I was the one drinking so much. Other people were drinking, quote unquote, normally. Like, I was kind of going, oh, it's like it's the Taylor Swift song. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. But I was just, okay. So I think helping people see that if that's where they are. But other people do have a friend circle that is, or a family circle, which I think is even harder, where everybody drinks and everybody is a big drinker. So all of a sudden, when you're the one quitting and saying, I'm not going to do this anymore, I actually like having a hangover free life. I like remembering my evenings. And that can be really hard and dealing with those questions. So I do walk people through, let's practice what people might ask. And let's practice how you're going to answer and what answer will you feel the most proud of? Because I'm a person who can get defensive and feel attacked, even though sometimes
Right.
people are genuinely curious and they're not
Mhm.
meaning to attack you and they're just interested. And I help people see that you can just be informative. You can take away the emotion from it and say, this is why I'm choosing to do this. If you want to know more, you can ask me. And it's also hard to not push it on everybody to be like, hey, this
Right.
has changed my life. You should try it. Suddenly you become that person and you're like, oh, I'm just going to, no, thank you. I don't drink. And that's all people need to know unless they're curious. I think I answered that one. I'm trying
Yeah.
to, it is,
The
that one is
reformed
so
smokers,
hard.
the reformed drinkers, the reformed smokers. We get it. We get
We
it.
get it. It changed your life. Gosh, like 10 years ago, I quit eating meat, any animal that
Mhm.
walks on land. And that felt very similar. I feel so good. I should tell the world. And I'm like, you should not tell the world.
If someone asks,
Yeah.
absolutely,
If
but
someone's
don't preach
curious.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
something I work on with people too. Like, there's that fine line we walk of being like, and it's hard too with people because they will say, oh, why are you judging me? Because I'm drinking. Oh, can I drink in front of you? That's one that I get sometimes. And I'm like, yeah.
What?
I'm always like, you having a margarita in front of me at a restaurant is not the thing that's going to make me throw away this whole
Yeah.
lifestyle I've chosen.
Yeah, for sure. Can you walk us through your process when you first start working with a client? What initial steps do you take?
The very first thing I do with clients is I help them start finding what we call our why. And I'm sure you've heard the why.
Mhm.
Why it's kind of the why do you have your online business? Why do you choose to live an entrepreneurial lifestyle? So, why are you choosing to take this break from alcohol? Because I do always start people out on a break. A lot of people come and they're like, I want this to be the start of a lifetime of being alcohol free. And that is great when people come to me with that mindset, but it's rare because it's scary to say, I'm going to quit doing this forever. So I get people really clear on what is your why. And I work really hard on them with them. I work really hard with them, not on them.
Work really hard on them.
Oh, I'm so aggressive. No, I'm not. Really hard with them on saying the why needs to be you focused, especially with women. We're very everyone else focused. I'm going to do
Mhm.
this for my kids. I'm going to do this for my husband or my spouse. I'm going to do this for my own parents. Like
Mhm.
I'm so in that headspace all the time. And it took me a while to say, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because I feel my best. And I think that's the first little shift I make with people where I say, it's great if in the beginning your why is your kids. That's fine.
Mhm.
But keep thinking, how can it be about you? How can it turn to you?
Yeah. Because you're right. Women so often they everybody else ahead of themselves. I'm doing this for so and so. I'm doing this. And a huge part of that, again, as we've mentioned before, is the conditioning.
Mhm.
That's how women have been brought up. You have to
Yeah.
do everything for everyone else first. Then you think about you. But it should be the exact opposite. With everything in life,
Yeah.
we should be putting ourselves first because when you do put yourself first, it allows you to fill your own cup. And I know that sounds cliche, but it allows you to fill your own cup, which then allows you to give to others. I had someone tell me once that think of it as a proper like English tea on a saucer and a cup. The stuff that overflows out of the cup onto the saucer is what you have to give to everyone else to start, but give to yourself first.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
I
so
like that.
true.
Everything
Women have
else
been
into you.
conditioned, right?
Yeah, and it's always interesting because I watch my husband and I still struggle with not making it all about everybody else.
Mhm.
But and I will watch my husband just kind of say to me, like, "Oh, I have a real estate call today. I got to go do that. So this is on pause." And I have such a hard time saying, "Oh, I have this podcast recording. I need to hit the pause button on this project we're working on." And it's just those little teeny tiny things you start
Yep.
to see, oh, I shouldn't have a hard time saying, this is my business and I bring money to the table. And so
Absolutely.
this is what I'm going to go do. So it's those little shifts. And I mean, being a business owner is the same. There's so many things with that, figuring out the why and making it you focused and
For
not
sure.
everybody else focused.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What impact do you see by living alcohol free having on mental health, relationships, and overall quality of life for your clients?
The mental health one is the biggest shift I feel like people see quickly because a lot of us drink to cure our anxiety. I know I was doing that, and that's what a lot of people tell me. And all of a sudden, when you take alcohol out, it's going to take a little shift. You're like your brain has to learn how to be a brain without alcohol, but when it does, you don't have anxiety anymore. Like, what? And obviously, there's going to be times where that still is there for people. And that's when
Right.
I say, but what a gift. Now it's not the alcohol. Now you can work with a medical professional and say, this is what I'm experiencing, or work with a therapist. So it really can help in those ways. But I will say, 85% of my clients that say, I struggle daily with anxiety. I had panic attacks. Sometimes I couldn't leave the house. That goes away.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know that's really, but I think it is that we are in this constant state of, okay, my anxiety is really high. My stress is really high. I'm going to drink. And then the next
Mhm.
day, all those problems are still there. All the stress is still there. And you're hungover and you're mad at yourself. So you just keep piling. And that is the biggest shift I see for people. Relationships for me changed a lot when I quit drinking. I became such a more involved parent
Mhm.
and I just am more patient. That's another thing with the mental health. I thought that having a beer loosened me up, made me a fun mom. Totally opposite. Now I'm laid back and I'm totally a fun mom most of the time. And just the overall quality, I always tell people it's like taking off like sunglasses on a cloudy
Yeah.
day and realizing,
Mhm.
oh, I didn't need these. And it's so much clearer without them. Or living in life in HD, a lot of people say. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, colors are brighter. You can smell better. All your senses work better. It's just, whoa. But I think the mental
Huge.
health is the biggest piece.
Yeah, for sure. What have you learned about yourself through your work as an alcohol free coach, and how has it influenced your personal growth?
I think I wear my quitting drinking. I have a few things that I always say, you quit drinking, you can do this. I always do I ran a marathon a long time ago now, like in 2015, but I'll go, you ran a marathon, you can do this.
Yeah.
Or I had twins. Oh, you grew two humans in your body at once. You can do this. But now it's, oh, you quit drinking in a world that normalizing alcohol. You can do this. You can have
Yeah.
no problem doing this. And I think that's the biggest thing it's given me that if I can do this, I can do that.
What advice would you give someone who is considering an alcohol free lifestyle but's unsure about taking the first steps?
The number one thing I would tell people is start with a break, even if it's 5 days, and look at it as when I started, I thought, I'll do this for 30 days just to see. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be a lifetime commitment. And if I don't like it, I can go back to my drinking life. And I think having that little open loop for a second in your brain helps your brain go, okay, this won't be so bad. But also, you need to take the break really seriously. You need to do the work and you need to be looking for the positive things that are happening without alcohol. Because I took breaks before and I would be going, oh, this is so boring. I don't like this. I think I'm going to stop this break early. Like I can't
Yeah.
I can't even tell any difference. I was that person when I would try breaks. And when I really got serious and said, okay, what am I experiencing each day? What's different this time? What's happening in my life that's easier? That's when it all started shifting for me. So I always tell people, start with a break. Don't,
Yeah.
that lifetime commitment thing can be really scary.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, that's a long
Have
time
you,
to think about.
yeah. Have you had any clients that have come to you that did the break and then any or many do the break and then go back to drinking?
I definitely have people who do dry July or dry
Right.
January, and they're like, thank you for that break. That was great. I learned a lot. I think I'm going to shift my drinking. So
Yeah.
I definitely have those people. I can't tell you how many people have done it and thought that was a great break and their drinking habits changed and they've just been successful at maintaining that. I do
Mhm.
have people who take the break and then say, I tried to start drinking again. I thought, oh, this time, even though you said it's going to go back pretty quick to what you used to do as a
Mhm.
drinker. And they'll say, okay, so then they come back. But I think those things are just little learning moments for us where we go, okay, I did try it out. I was curious. And I went back to my drinking. And yeah, it didn't give me what I thought it wanted to. So now I'm back on track. So we talk a lot about either what do you do after you have a slip up? How can you use that to your advantage as a learning moment? But also, it's okay to choose to just take a break. Also, I never want to be
Mhm.
that person who is just like, alcohol free is the only way. Although in my heart of hearts, I feel that for myself.
Mhm.
But I have to always say for myself, and I can
Yeah.
only control me.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's something where people just have to learn and decide for them.
Yeah. A break is good too. Nothing wrong with
Mhm.
taking a break for a month or
Oh,
here
yeah.
and there. So just to change things up a little bit.
Yeah.
What are some practical strategies or tips that you recommend for maintaining an alcohol-free lifestyle, especially during tough times, challenging times?
I think that during those challenging times, the thing that I had to remember was alcohol never made it easier. I thought it did. I thought it was this because it does numb you out for a second from the problems that you're having. Then you wake up the next day and the problem is still there. Shocker. Because you've done none of the work to fix the problem, none of the work to strategize how you're going to manage this thing in your life. And for me, the next day I was hungover. I was hating myself. And so that's just, it just added to it. So that's one of the things that I really work with people on is saying, did it really help? How did it help? And then what if you try this time to just not drink through this situation and see if it's actually easier or better? And I think when you just kind of say, try it this way instead, and then just decide for yourself which way worked better for you.
Yeah, for sure. How do you envision the future of alcohol-free living and its place in our culture?
I think the young people of the world are really helping us out because I feel like they think alcohol is their mom and dad's drug, which I know there's definitely other drugs happening out there within their community, within their
Yes.
smaller cultural circle. But it's interesting to see that shift where, an alcohol is their mom and dad's drug. I know it was my drug. So they're very right in thinking that. And I think that is going to actually help so much. Not drinking is becoming a lot more, I don't want to say normal because I still
Mhm.
work with so many people that are like, you say it's becoming normal. And I'm hanging out with people that are like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. But I think when we can see that, oh, it is starting to change. And so I feel like every single beer company has a non alcoholic beer. They're
Mhm.
hearing from us and they're going, okay, there's all these different NA drinks hitting the market. And I think that it's kind of going to take that shift that cigarettes took, where all of a sudden people were like, whoa, alcohol is really bad for you. And
Yeah.
maybe we should put warning labels. Do they have warning labels on it in Canada?
On alcohol? No.
Alcohol? Okay.
No.
Because they
On
do
cigarettes,
now.
they do,
Yeah.
yes.
And
Huge.
yeah, I was going to say,
Like,
and
they're
they're usually,
graphic images.
yeah, which they don't do in America yet. They're like,
Yeah, they're incredibly graphic images right on the cigarette packages. I think on the filters too of the cigarettes, there's a message or something
oh,
about not
wow,
smoking too. I think, I can't remember, but I know for sure on the packages, there are very graphic images on the
that's
packages.
amazing. Yeah. No, I'm like, we just have the warning, this is not good for you.
Yeah.
But I have heard, I think it's in Ireland that they've started putting warnings on alcohol.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
it's not as graphic, but similar. And it's not just the don't consume this if you're pregnant. It's starting to be
Right.
like, this is a carcinogen. This is not good
Yeah.
for you. And
Yeah.
I think that really helps too. And I think we will see that shift slowly start to happen. Unfortunately, I
I,
feel like America might be really slow to get on board with it.
I love that you mentioned the fact, though, that alcohol is this generation's parents' drug, because I have noticed there's a lot more people talking about being alcohol free.
Hmm.
And, but with the kids, I'm noticing as well, there's a lot more actual drug use as opposed to alcohol use, which, I mean, I know fentanyl is a huge problem
Yeah,
among the
right?
younger generation, especially in the US. I mean, we're hearing about it here in Canada as well, but you're hearing about all these other synthetic drugs like Molly and all these other drugs that these kids are doing. It's like
Hmm.
I think the hardest drug that was popular when I was a kid or a teenager was acid. And we
Right?
heard, and that was very prevalent. I mean, a lot of people were doing acid,
Yeah,
but now you're hearing about all these other drugs, and it's getting to the point where there's so many kids dying
I
from using
know.
the drugs. So
Yeah.
it's gone away from alcohol. Because I mean, when I was growing up too, alcohol, we would steal our parents' booze, we would raid our parents' liquor cabinets, we would grab beer, that type of thing. But now it's like they're doing hard drugs
Hmm.
and they're ending up dying, which is
Yeah.
horribly sad. It's a huge problem.
And the good thing, I mean, not the good, I guess the light of it is that there's that education piece. And I feel like that education piece is always missing with alcohol. So there will be that don't do drugs. This is what they do. I think the best thing we can do for our teens and for our 20-year-olds is really saying, this is what it actually does to your brain. This is what it actually does to your body. Because I think those are the things, not these scare tactics. Because that's what, when you said acid, I was like, oh my gosh. And I heard that if you did a hit of acid, it could alter your brain and that's where you stayed forever.
I never heard that one.
So, I mean, the scare tactics work on me,
Mhm.
but I don't think they are the thing that empower our kids.
No.
So I think that if we can get really serious of let's educate and let's actually be aware that this is happening. And then same with our 40-year-olds, let's educate what alcohol is really doing to your brain. Because I feel like so many people that I meet that are my age are like, how can I be the healthiest version of myself? How can I make it so I can live the longest? And you'll do all these things. You'll work out, you'll stop eating meat, you'll just make all these different shifts, but you'll keep drinking. And that's how I
Yeah.
was. So I do think that it's that education piece for every generation and being honest about what is this thing?
Yeah. I can remember when I was growing up seeing those commercials on TV. This is your brain on drugs. This is your
Yeah.
all those things. Like those were incredibly popular. And also there was a lot of education around drinking and driving. Like I can
Hmm.
remember police going into schools and giving talks about drinking and driving, which was popular. We need to bring that back. If you are
Yes.
going to drink, be responsible about it when you're getting behind. Don't get behind the wheel. And this is something that was brought up, I saw recently on social media, where they're talking about bringing that back, and it should be brought back into the schools to
Hmm.
teach the kids, don't get behind. If you're going to drink, don't get behind the wheel.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So we
Right.
need to bring, you're right, the education needs to be around all of it. Whether you choose to stop drinking or not, that's up to you. But let's at least put the education out there for people to learn.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
needed
Yeah.
for sure.
And don't skirt around it and think, oh, kids aren't
No,
even doing that. I'm like,
no,
yeah,
that
we
you're
were all
very,
kids,
very
right?
naive if you're thinking that my kid doesn't do bullshit. Come on. Let's be honest.
It's totally almost their job at that age to be like, I'm going to
Yeah,
experiment and push the button
of
and see what I can
course.
do. So let's arm them with everything.
And it
You
should
can
be around
say,
the drugs too, though,
oh
not just
yeah.
alcohol. It should be
Hmm.
around the drugs as well. That
Yeah.
this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, it is really scary, especially with the fentanyl and stuff, because people are lacing drugs with
Hmm.
that drug. And you don't know what, if you're buying drugs, if you're buying weed, if you're buying whatever, you don't know what that stuff is laced with.
Yeah. It's something I've already talked to my own kids about, and they're 13. And they're afraid of vaping. They're like, kids vape at our school. And you can tell
Yeah.
they're very young in that way. But I'm always like, you need to know some of these things. And you're going to be like, why are you even talking to me about this? Let's start having this conversation right now. And the
And I think
conversation of
that,
call your mom when you need a ride home.
yeah, oh, for sure. And I think
Yeah.
that's a great idea, is starting to talk to the kids about all of this stuff at a young age so
Yeah.
that they know
Yeah.
and they're aware and they become educated. Because, of course, they're going to see their friends at school doing these things and think, oh, I wonder if I should try that. But it's about, I think, when it comes to parents and kids, it's having that open line of communication, constantly ensuring them that you can come to me with anything. There
Yeah.
is no fear or worry about you coming home and talking to me about something. Tell me
Yeah.
about it. I want to talk. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what you're seeing at school, and it's okay to come to me and talk to me about it. I'm not going
Yes.
to get pissed off at you. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Keeping those lines of communication open is so important,
And I will say
especially with
that,
all that stuff.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And with quitting drinking and my kids witnessing it, it's helped actually a lot because they're curious now. Why
Right.
did you quit? What happened? They want to kind of know the story. And it's nice to be able to talk to them honestly about it and say, these are
Yeah.
the choices I made, and you're going to make whatever choices you make.
Yeah.
But let's actually discuss it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. How do you maintain your own well-being and sobriety while supporting others in their journey?
This one is super important because there can be times where I'm like, I need somebody to talk to. Recently, I started working with a therapist through BetterHelp, and that helped a lot. I'm a very online person. So I was like, oh, I can do this online and I don't need to make an appointment. And you still making an appointment.
Yeah, I don't
But
need to leave the house.
yes, I don't need to leave the house. That whole pajama piece, bring back that from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, that has helped a lot, making sure I have somebody I can talk to if needed, when needed. But I also am very regimented in my morning routine. I have a morning routine where I meditate, I practice my daily gratitudes, my affirmations, which is something I started when I quit drinking. And it's actually something I work with my clients on too, is let's set up a morning routine or a routine with these habits that I find to be very important. So if they do it in the evening, that's great. I'm a morning person, so that works for me.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things that helps me so much. And saying, okay, I need to work out. I need to move my body in a positive way. And when I'm like, I don't want to, I'm like, it's good for you. And when you do it, it makes you feel better. But probably I would say meditation is my number one thing that's helped me the most, and is the thing that I don't skip anymore because I've seen
Yeah.
that.
It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Yeah. What has been the most rewarding aspect of your work as an alcohol-free coach?
I think the best part of helping people when they quit drinking is seeing them rediscover themselves, because you get so lost in who you really are. That's a normal adult thing when you're busy taking care of everybody else. We don't all go through the moment. If you don't have kids, you don't have this, but I'm sure something happens similar. But as a parent, your life is dedicated to keeping the humans alive. And you are very like, I got to keep them alive. This is really serious. And it really is, right? But you lose yourself. And all of a sudden you're like, what do I even like to do? And my only hobby was drinking. I would tell people my hobby is drinking in the sun. And I thought I was so clever. I'm so funny when I say that. And now I'm like, oh my gosh. But watching people rediscover what they like, who they are, what their values are, it's such a cool thing to watch people go, I just learned that I like this. And sometimes it's the most basic thing. People will be like, I tried riding a bike today and I love it. It's like, I had the opposite. I tried riding a bike after I quit drinking and I hate it. But it's kind of that whole thing where you get to go, oh, this is so cool. Like, I'm learning these little things about myself. And I think that's the most rewarding thing, is watching adults get to know themselves again.
Yeah. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I was reading your questions last night and I was like, this one's really hard. I always joke that I'm like, I smile a lot. It gets me into a lot of good places. I kept thinking, you can't say that. And here I am saying it. But I do think it's a positive mindset. really helps me. And there's a lot of parts of working a business online where people say rude things to you, and you got to weed through the people that don't like you to get to the people that do like you. And you have to learn how to deal with that. But I think that teaching people on their alcohol-free journey how to have a similar positive mindset in that way, and a growth mindset, more importantly. We can grow, we can change. And I think because I have that, I can reflect it for other people and they can see it. It's not necessarily smiling all the time.
It's my smile.
I joke with my daughter sometimes. I'm like, if you're ever scared, just smile. She's, Mom, that's terrible advice. If you're in a scary situation, smile.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that advice, Ma. Thanks, but no thanks.
I'm like, I'm glad you're so smart. But definitely that positive mindset, growth mindset, super beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does success mean to you?
I think for me, this one is living a life that you are truly happy in. And that's going to look different for every single person. Some people, when they start going on this, I feel like I kind of went on this journey of what do I want out of this life? I feel like we kind of do that in our 40s. And for a lot of people, that can look like what I used to have, which was living in the suburbs in a big house in a cul-de-sac and with my 2 kids and my dog. And it looked very successful, very happy. But in that house also, I was drinking a lot, and there were a lot of negative things within that space. My marriage was always very happy and my kids were always very happy, but there was the drinking story that nobody saw from the outside. And just taking it back to in terms of success, maybe that is your idea of success, that you have this house and you get to live that life. But I think that it is when you wake up each day and you say, wow, this is my life. I can't believe this. And I
get
have
to do this.
Yeah. And I have definitely crafted that for myself. And it is, I'm not the richest person in the world, and I'm not the person with the most time. And if you walked onto my property right now, there's a camper trailer that's been sitting there for 3 years and a yurt, and you would be thinking, this lady's crazy. But I walk out and I go, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is the coolest thing. So it's kind of the ditching what society says you need to do, and figuring out what makes you truly happy, what makes you tick, and figuring out how to sustain that lifestyle.
Yeah. It's a common theme here in our conversation with the conditioning and societal conditioning and all the bullshit that we've been taught and fed.
If you can't tell, I like to do what society tells me not to do. It really makes me tick.
But more people are starting to do that. They're starting to wake up and realize that, no, life doesn't have to be the way that you have been telling us it has to be for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's complete bullshit.
And you can't, if that's what makes you happy, then please do it, right?
Absolutely.
But if it's not, if something feels off, then start testing the waters and see what works for you.
Do what makes your fucking soul sing. That's what I say.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
That is it. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after you learned it?
I think for this one, it is the quit drinking. Just stop placing so much power on alcohol. Stop thinking that alcohol is the end all be all and what makes things fun, because it just isn't. That shift that I made when I ditched alcohol is probably the biggest thing that I've learned in my life, that alcohol was never making me happy. Alcohol was never making me fun. All that power is inside me. And I'm the one who has to wake up every single day and make me happy. And then I can choose to make other people happy if I want to.
Yes.
And I think that is the biggest shift. And it all kind of started with ditching alcohol. So then I could start learning that about myself.
What was a turning point in your life, and how did that turning point affect you?
This one, I think for me, I was looking at this question and I was, what should I go with? Should I go with quitting drinking? But actually, I went back to when I was a music teacher and the first time they cut my hours. And it made me see how replaceable I was, how much they didn't really care, and how much it kind of made me step into that, I'm not going to do what the man tells me type thing. But I was working a job where I thought, this is the job I'm going to have forever. This is the job where I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids here. This school is going to become my family. And I was there for 6 years, as long as my first group of kindergartners. And then budget cuts happened. And I thought, oh, I've been doing this long enough. I won't get touched. And I did. And they were like, you're going to go teach middle school and you don't have a full-time job anymore. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I hated middle school when I was there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't want to go back and have to be the leader. But it was just a big shift for me to see that we can have all the plans in place, but other people might have other plans. But it also showed me that, and this is, some people are going to be like, oh, we're getting a little woo here, but the universe always has a plan for you that you don't quite understand.
For sure.
And I think that was my first catalyst to be like, I have to figure out something else I can do. Like I can keep teaching and I can keep moving around with this, but I also have to figure out something else I can do because maybe I'm not as valued as I thought I was.
Yeah, things have changed in the workforce a lot since our parents were working full time. And I mean, our parents stayed at one job for 30, 40 years and they get the gold watch and all of the recognition. And there was value. People were valued at their jobs. Now it's like all they care about is the bottom line. That's it. If we have to make cuts, oh, you're replaceable. As you said, we're all replaceable. I think the only way around that is to get out on your own and do your own thing. Again, finding what makes your soul sing, finding what makes you happy and doing that, turning that into a business and helping people, giving back, because that's the biggest part of it is impacting people's lives and giving back to them, giving back to the world through the work we do.
Yes. And I think when you can remember that, if you can find something that you love and help other people figure out that thing if they need it, that's the piece. If you can help other people, then you've really got something that can light you on fire. And as a music teacher, I was helping kids learn how to love music, and I loved it because I love music. But it's just shifted.
Yeah, I compare, for me, I always say me finding my purpose and giving back and having that, what I've found as my purpose, impacting people, that's like winning the lottery twice for me. That there's no better feeling in the world than that. It is absolutely incredible. And it does set my soul on fire. I love that I get to do what I do and have what I do give back to people and impact people's lives, because that's part of why we're all here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an incredible feeling.
It really is. Jinx.
I was just going to say that. What is one of your biggest failures or teachable moments, and what did you learn from it?
Oh man, I'm like, this one I was having a super hard time with it, and I can't figure out why. I've mentioned that my husband and I are building a house, and we fail every single day on this build. It's probably the hardest part of building a house is that every single day you mess up. And sometimes you find out that your mess up was really big and you got to go back and figure out how to fix it in the simplest way, the most cost-effective way. But you also need a house that's safe for your family to live in. And so I guess it's not a big failure. It's learning how to deal with those little tiny failures every single day and not get in my head about it. Not be like, I messed this up and now it messed up everything. I'm so stupid. I'm a terrible person, because that's the rabbit hole that I do go down sometimes and on the house build, because there are some things that I single-handedly messed up and they are messing up things farther down the road. And I always look at my husband and I go, well, I didn't know what I was doing. When we put the roof rafters on, I'm sorry. But I just think that if you can learn to look at every single failure as a teachable moment, which is, oh my gosh, can you even imagine when people are super down? Like when I lost my teaching job, I was like, okay, there's probably a learning moment in this. There was that little positive mindset voice saying that to me. And I was like, I hate you, positive mindset voice. There's no reason for this to be happening. But I think that every failure I've had is always that learning moment. And when I can remember that, and when I can remember not to spiral and go into the place where I'm mad at myself, that's what probably helps me the most. So I didn't quite answer that with the biggest failure.
No, that's okay.
Instead, I said, I mess up every single day, and it's just learning how to deal with that.
It's hard to get into that headspace, though, to be able to pull yourself outside of the situation and look in at it and look for the lesson, look for the teachable moment, because there is a teachable moment in every single situation that we encounter in life. And it's about being able to pull that out of it so you can move forward to continue on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes the work.
It does every single day. But I always tell people it's really good work. It's really kind of fun work.
Yeah, definitely. What is one thing now that you wish you knew when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
I wish that I could go back and tell my brand new entrepreneurial self that working toward time freedom is way more important than working towards financial freedom. And I think that was when I first started, I was like, oh, and I could, this sounds so terrible. Oh, and I can make so much money. I will say that has not been the case, but the fact that my time is my time, I never like, and I thought being a teacher, I was like, oh, I'm going to really miss summer break. I totally don't because there's a lot of times in, November where I take a Wednesday off and can go on a hike. And
Hmm.
that to me is so valuable. So if I would have known early on that the name of the game is time freedom and having time in your life to do whatever you want to, and that you can create that time as an entrepreneur versus that financial freedom piece. Both are equally exciting, but I always say that
For
time
sure.
is the one resource we can't get back. And
That's
money,
right.
we can always go make more. I call the money the
Yes.
magical beans. My husband is
Yeah.
always, it's not magic. I'm like, you can grow more.
Yeah.
So,
Very true.
and you
Very
can
true.
never
You
grow more
cannot,
time.
that's right. You can never get that time back. Once it's gone, and that's it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I love that you pointed that out. Thank you. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
I was thinking about this one. I always say that being alcohol free made me feel empowered. And I was like, why? And I think it's because it makes me feel powerful. It makes me feel powerful when I say, I don't drink. In a world where it's totally normal to drink, I find a lot of power in the fact that I choose not to drink. So I think empowerment to me is figuring out what thing makes you feel powerful. What the like those three things I listed off with the I ran a marathon, I
Yeah.
birthed twins, like what, that one always makes me laugh because I'm like, it's just like Mother Nature did what it needed to do,
Mhm.
but I can still take some credit there.
Absolutely. You were the vessel.
Exactly. And it made me feel powerful. So it's what makes you feel powerful. That's really what empowerment is for me.
Love it. What is one of your favorite quotes?
Oh, I love this quote. I say it to my kids a lot. I don't know who said it. Be sure to let your freak flag fly so the other freaks can find you.
I love it.
And as a person who felt like they never fit in, they were always the outcast. I needed to hear that. And I feel like I didn't hear
Yeah.
it till my 30s. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I wish 18-year-old me could have heard that.
Okay, we're going to jump into a rapid fire section. So the next
Okay.
grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3 word answer type thing.
Okay.
Okay. What is one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
For our house to be totally done and us to be living in it, but we still built it because I know you
Yeah.
can buy it with money.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would that be?
I would get everybody to meditate daily.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Dedicated.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
My mindset.
What is your favorite self-care practice?
I'm going to say it again, meditation.
And that concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I threw in a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time.
Okay.
If you could take one feeling or belief and bottle it and give it to people, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I think genuine happiness, when you can feel that genuine happiness where you're just laughing, smiling, and be aware that it's happening. Because sometimes I
Yeah.
think it's happening and we don't realize it.
If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
I've read this one a few times last night and I couldn't think of anything really except for maybe the mom life, work life balance. And
Okay.
how does that work versus how does it work for my husband since he's also
Okay.
an entrepreneur and just kind of see that difference.
Okay. How does it work? Tell me.
I am not great at it right now. But I have to stop and I always say, oh, I'm not great at it. And then my husband goes, a person who was really bad at it wouldn't even think that. They wouldn't be reflecting on it. So you're probably actually doing pretty good. But I think that when I became an entrepreneur and I started being in charge of my own hours, it was hard not to be like, I'm going to go volunteer at my kid's school every day. I'm going to be so present in my kid's life. And instead, I really do have to talk to them about, no, I have a quote unquote real job.
Mhm.
So I'm sorry that sometimes at 5 p.m. I hop on a call, but that's also so on the weekends I can be totally present and dedicated to you. Or on Christmas holiday, I can actually be more present with you for those 2 weeks. Whereas if I had a 9 to 5 job, I'd be going to work during that time, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Sara, what aspect of your personality do you think has been the most helpful in your career?
I think for me, it is the growth mindset that I have, and that when things fail, I don't truly look at it as a failure, but I always look at it as a learning moment. And I think back to when had my 30-day alcohol-free challenge, and it was this brand new thing. And my husband's helping me price it. And I was like, I think $5 is probably appropriate. And I laughed really hard. He always goes, remember when you were just trying to give this thing away for free? Yes, I do remember. Stop bringing it up. I was also like, why doesn't anybody want this? Why? But I really had to learn how to talk about my story authentically. I really had to learn how to talk to the person that was me before I quit drinking. And what did that person need to learn? So I really always look at those things. I never look at it as, I can't believe that happened. I'm such a failure. I should just quit. Instead, I was like, I just haven't figured this out yet. And
Yeah.
I just need to go back, recraft, figure out what people really need. Because whatever the $5 version was, people really didn't need.
Mindset is everything. It is so important to everything.
It really
It's
is.
key.
Yeah, it totally is. Because you will feel like you're failing daily, like I already said.
Entrepreneurship is a
Yeah.
long fucking journey. It is
Oh my
hard.
gosh.
I say it's right up there with raising kids in terms
Yeah.
of difficulty.
Well, and I
Because
tell
you
my
are
husband
challenged
every day. Yeah. And every day you think, I'm failing. Every day you're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this isn't
Yeah.
working. I often tell my husband, like, I'm going to go get a job at Starbucks. Like, I've heard they get benefits. He's always, you are not going to like that. And he's right.
You go right ahead if you want to. Try it out. I guarantee you'll be done within a month.
My morning routine would be taken away because I'd be serving coffee at 4 a.m. Nope.
If you had the opportunity, Sara, to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
Okay. I didn't know it.
Either.
Okay. If it could be alive or passed away, I would choose my grandma and just go back and chat with her. I always had a gross conversation. I always had
a growth conversation,
a close connection to her. But I always feel like, oh man, if I could have one more conversation with her, that would be amazing. And then I put, for somebody who's not living, Julia Louise-Dreyfus. She has that podcast right now where she interviews older women. And she just seems like the most fun person to sit and chat with. I'm always like, I wish she'd interview me, but I'm not 70 and 80. Also not famous.
But a couple of criteria there.
I'm just missing a few things.
Yeah, just a few. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't worry so much about what people think of you. And just remember that you're the only person you're guaranteed to be stuck with for the rest of your life. So do whatever makes you happy. Don't worry about making everybody else happy.
Love that. Lastly, Sara, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
I would remind people that life is too amazing to dull it with alcohol. There's too many things happening every single day to us that are little miracles just happening all around us. And when you are dulled with a hangover, if you're dulling it with the actual drinking, which just numbs your brain, you're missing it. And you never get the time back. You will never get that moment back that you're living right then. So don't choose to dull it with a depressant.
Sara, thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. It has been an absolute pleasure. The conversation has been a blast. I've thoroughly enjoyed every minute of our conversation. Thank you so much for making and taking the time to be here with me today. And I'm grateful to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you for shining your bright, beautiful light out into the world through the work you do.
Thank you so much for having me on. This has been really fun.
My honor and my pleasure. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Sara Kaufman-Bradstreet. She is the founder of No More Wasted Days. She's an alcohol-free coach and a podcast host. Thank you so much, Sara. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca. Follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.